So yeah, I wanted us to start with a round of sharing. I would love to understand a little bit what is happening, being absent for almost 2 weeks with all the conferences and in real life meetings and stuff, and also share a little bit about some things I reflected on in the conferences and talking to people. And yeah, so maybe we could have like a 10-minute of reflection, and then I'll pass to Bear and Kojak to do the SWOT analysis. And after that, also, I was looking at some old boards we had in the TEC, and if we have time, I would love to have a look at that. Yeah, so it was really great to exchange with so many people and to hear what are the challenges, what are some of the interesting things happening in the space from different perspectives of different DAOs. And I think still the TEC has been seen as like a reference of culture and in soft governance, and it was cool to have that feedback, but also understanding that the funding layer is still a vulnerability in terms of compensation for the people who are participating. And I think that was one of the harshest feedbacks. And I just wanted to share with you guys to like, for us to, I know we've been discussing this for so long, but also just to bring it up on how maybe some contributors have been feeling like they are not fairly compensated. And I heard this not only for the TEC, but for multiple projects, how this like overestimation of voluntary work is something harmful culturally. And how can we like more build spaces for people to have agency, but at the same time not leave contributors in this like realm of like how privileged do you need to be to participate in a DAO right now, and just to put points of reflection like that. And then just thinking, I think more and more people have been talking in a more broad perspective, and how can we talk about the value systems of the new systems we're building and how to provide some type of sustainability for them and connect different value flows that are not only financial to be able to become compensation. So that's something I've been thinking a lot about. How could we shift the way we think of value, not only from an ethical perspective or from a financial perspective, to bring more to the compensation layer. So if someone is abundant in education but is lacking finances, then maybe this person could offer education and receive finances. But maybe if someone is abundant socially and needs education, or is abundant financially, and so what are the types of value streams that we could map and be able to measure them somehow, so we could create more like of this exchange of value flows in a way that's more explicit, that it doesn't feel like if you're not being financially compensated that you're being extracted, or that there is a toxic dynamic present in there. So I don't know, just a lot of thoughts floating around, and I would love to hear what you guys have been thinking. And I'll pass to Bear to kick us off.
Thank you, Livy. Well, I think it's been an interesting timing with all these conferences and everything here in the TEC, because I felt things have gotten more quiet, like, and slower. Maybe at some point, like, there's been less calls happening, less people attending the calls. But like I felt that it has provided like a chance or an opportunity to kind of like take a break and like rethink stuff. So I think it's been a positive aspect, because it has allowed, I think, better coordination, more direct coordination and efforts across the working groups and across the contributors that have been active. So I think that's been good, because it has allowed also to made us realize that there's work to do in different fronts, but at the same time we have to prioritize where to begin, right? So personally, that's something that I've been trying to do. I mean, I see a lot of things where things could be improved and stuff, but I cannot do everything at once, and I think it's more of a process, and this process goes along with people, right? And those incentives of where you want to go, they need to be aligned with people. So yeah, I've just like been trying to personally prioritize where I want to put my attention and my focus. And right now it's completely on sample. I think all the initiatives there are crucial for the TEC, the sustainability, and also this part of the SWOT analysis. I think it's key as well. I think it will give us a lot of insights about the overall health of the TEC and different things we need to tackle, and maybe work from there into some other initiatives that are also around. I feel like everything is connected, so it's interesting and exciting times. I'll pass it to Durgidas.
Yeah. So, yeah, in terms of compensation, it's an interesting question for me, because I think all the money that I've made from this is doing the Gravity DAO website. Like, yeah, I've got tokens and whatnot, but those are locked up for a long time, and so like I've literally just been here participating, just because trying to look at the cultural build is an important thing, and I'm also just aware that I think there's some maybe different values that the TEC has than necessarily my own in a sense, but nonetheless, in terms of compensation, I've never really kind of expected that, and I've heard that other people have made money in this space, but just, that's, I'm a bit clueless in terms of that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do feel, in some way like, hey, I'm over here, I think we're close to 2 years now, year and 9 or 10 months at this point of my participation. And apart from tokens, which is basically a promise, you know what I mean? And in a bear market, what kind of promise is that, So a lot of what we're experiencing in terms of compensation, I think, the promise seems a lot greater when you're in a bull market like we were for a really long time, and everyone's just positive, and that's going to drive some of what we're dealing with in terms of people wanting that compensation and dropping out as a result of not getting it. I've scaled back my participation somewhat too. So yeah, I mean, and also I think I like things like Sampo, because we do have to consider what is it like to actually build a thing in a bear market, which is, I think, a thing that we all kind of didn't think about all that well at the beginning. So it's having an impact after the fact for us, and it is in fact those sort of thinking gaps in which I'm most interested in as a person and as a participant is in, trying to be helpful in identifying and working on those things before they become a problem later. And then we suddenly have to, oh geez, now we have to have an entire initiative for those things. So anyway, that's my off the top of my head sort of thing that I can think of while I'm in the middle of cooking. Thank you.
Yeah, you want to go next?
I think you said, did you say me? Yeah. Sorry.
I said one, but that's fine. Whatever.
Oh,
Doesn't matter.
Livia said.
Go ahead. Go
Go
right
ahead.
ahead.
Juan, why don't you go ahead?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. I think it cut. Sorry, Juan.
I think I've learned a lot, and I continue learning. For me, this journey has been a learning experience, and yeah, today it is the Token Engineering Academy's birthday, and as Durga said, we are almost 2 years on this project, and I feel we've made a lot of progress, and I feel we've learned a lot about ourselves and about others, and that each movement that we do requires us to learn different things. Like when we were in the Params parties, we learned a lot about tokens, and from me trying to make Gravity a service DAO, I also learned about like how to provide services and how to have clear expectations. And I've also learned a lot about project management, thanks to Tam and to the stewards and to the all the way that we've been working for a lot of time. And yeah, we continue learning all about like the token utility, and but I think that the cultural build still like unites us, and it's like somehow a common point that unites the community. So yeah, reflecting, it's like yeah, a really cool learning opportunity. Also learning from really amazing people, from technology, from social points of view, learning from our own mistakes. I think yeah, learning has been one of the most important things that I can reflect to from my participation in the TEC. I will pass it to Kojak.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I hope I'm somewhat clear. Anyway, I mean, I haven't been with the token engineering ecosystem for very long, but but still, I can't connect with what you people are saying because I haven't been long enough. Or even that, what I've been involved with are certain very narrow things, being part of certain research groups. But what I really find very motivating about this whole thing is that it's a fantastic cause. It's something worth fighting for. So that is one thing. That's why I continue to be really interested in this particular initiative in all respects. At this particular point, what I in the sample thing, what I wanted to show was the potential of this particular initiative is massive. Almost all the problems which are being mentioned now is basically because of a lack of being able to monetize. And I think that is both tragic, and at the same time it also shows that the opportunity is right there in front of us, because what's happening, I mean, the kind of developments which are happening in token engineering and all that, it shows that it can be done. I mean, it's your, I mean, all the verticals, they're actually reaching out and servicing other entities. It's not too difficult to actually monetize that. And that's what I've been talking about. And I mean, it's only, I mean, that's what token engineering is about. So it can be done. And if that monetization happens, and in the, what you call, I've prepared a kind of a presentation based on what has been done. I mean, what's been done in the SWOT is something very elementary, and it has got to continue. But I do believe that from this can emanate some real solutions. And I do believe that the opportunities for tackling this particular problem, it exists, and I mean, and it can be done. And it's again token engineering. And I've actually applied these particular techniques in certain communities. And those same principles can be applied out here. And it's possible for every vertical. That it can, I mean, it is possible to, if you're creating value, then since every value can be tokenized, then it is possible by using innovative, mechanism designs and token engineering to actually monetize it. It's a kind of a challenge. And there is another aspect about it which is important, but which I don't want to go into it, but both those things put together, it is possible. Maybe, I mean, in the presentation, if you can make the presentation sometime, then I'd like to explain in more detail. That's all. Thank you. I hope I was clear. Could I get anything?
Thank you, Coach. Do you want to pass it?
Yeah, I'll pass it on.
To who?
I can take it. Well, I need to know what's the question, but I can take it.
Thanks, Sati. I was just having some reflections on the last 2 weeks that we had like slower moments in community because of the conferences. So if you have anything from the conferences you wanted to reflect on, or something that happened in the last couple of weeks that you would like to bring up, or how you've been feeling.
Yeah, I mean, my reflection is like I'm going to leave on August 16, and I'll be like a month out of the commons, and I don't know, like it feels like, oh no, 1 month outside, this will, I don't know, I feel like it, since we are advancing so fast, like things will change, and yeah, I don't know, but I'm also at the same time trying to get all the things I'm doing and get them done. So, so I'm not living with the need of getting things done, and that's affecting other people. So yeah, I'm trying to close all my things, and yeah, I mean, I'm excited and to excited but anxious at the same time. Like yeah, let's see how the TC is when I'm back in a month. I don't know. Yeah, that's what's going on in my mind. I don't know how to pass it, so back to you, David.
What about Gideon?
Yeah, I'll go. I've been thinking about this very same question a lot, actually, about compensation. Two things I wanted to share. One is that, back in like a month ago or so, there was a proposal that I think Zepti pushed through, which was the transparency around salaries at the TEC. And that passed. And so that salary data is now in this master spreadsheet that Transparency has is publishing now, and it's a really cool spreadsheet. It's got all this stuff. One of the things it has in there is, all the money that each one of us has made. It's very transparent. So I think a lot of the questions about like who's made what and questions about fairness, I think we're going to need to prepare for some of these questions, because these will probably come up as a result of this. It's a good practice to have transparency, and then there's going to be, there'll probably be some discussions. So that's one thing. Second thing is I've been thinking, my view on this is actually maybe a little bit different, but I'm looking at the money that the TEC has and the spending, and the fact that, we're not going to be making large-scale revenues for quite some time. It's going to take us a while to ramp up services and things like that. We'll do it, but it's going to take time. So I think that we're going into a period where, it's going to be very hard to pay people full time the way that we have been paying full time up till now. And this is kind of a hard reality, but it is, I think, the reality that we're moving into. And so I wish that we were not in this situation, but it is kind of the reality. So I've been thinking more about how do we deal with that reality, right? How do we keep this commons going? How do we keep this mission going, this culture going in a different kind of organizational reality in terms of payments? And the thing I keep coming back to is this model of community organizing, right? Where in community organizing, you really are relying much more on the community to contribute to the mission and to the community. And you do have some people who are getting paid, but what they're doing is maybe focusing less on the actual doing and more on the coordinating of people. And that maybe we're relying less on like fixed income, like monthly incomes for people, and more like praise system, but then also bounties, and also just contributions. And so in a world like that, if you believe that that's true, that we are kind of headed to a constrained budget scenario, and we need to find ways of continuing the work, and we are going to need to rely more on volunteerism and bounties as a way to get it done. I think that we do have to come up with some alternative ways of recognizing contributions, right? I think the
Sorry
reputation.
to interrupt you, Gideon,
Yeah.
but I have a question about this. The thing that you're talking about moving to is the only reality I know already, right? And I would say that's probably true for the vast majority of participants in the token engineering commons. So that's a little bit confusing to me. So maybe you can. So you're talking about a reality I've existed in for 2 years, and then so like we need to transition into that. I don't know anything else other than that. So if I have a criticism, it is essentially that. So you know what I'm saying? I think there's 20 people maybe making money out of this entire thing. We have hundreds of people participating. So it's a question.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that even the 20 people, right now, we don't have the way that we were paying back in, April, May, June, that level of outflow of salaries, even for that, is probably not going to, if we keep doing that, we will spend out. So maybe, you know, that is, I know that you're right, that is the reality for a number of people. And I guess what I'm saying is maybe it's going to become more that way, for the foreseeable future. And so I guess my point is less about, you know, it wasn't that way before and now it's going this way. And that's good clarification. But we're not moving out of that. And so the point I'm trying to make is that I think we really do need some ways of recognizing people and giving value to people that are not purely financial, right? So expertise, experience, reputation, these are all things that the TEC could provide. And with the name that we have, I think it would mean something. But it would take a little bit more work to figure out what that is. But I think it's valuable. I mean, I think that there is valuable there, and it's not fake. It's very real if we make it real. So I'll just stop there. I don't know who hasn't gone yet. NT, have you gone?
Nope, I haven't. What's the question? Because I'm a bit confused. I've heard a few different things.
Just a reflection on the last couple of weeks. But some of us were in conferences, and if there was a slowdown in the TC or not, or how has work been feeling? How could you reflect on the community in the last 2 weeks?
Okay. I guess I've felt that we are actually moving on faster, and like we're taking on more stuff. I think when I entered the community around February, March, that was the sort of the start of the bear market, and I certainly saw, you know, a bit more, you know, the community sort of backing up a bit and changing to be able to, you know, accept the reality of the market. But I feel like now we are sort of focusing back again and taking action on what we can do. And so, at least in my personal case, that I've been particularly involved with Sample, there's, you know, a lot of projects going on, and they're getting done in no time. Um, and yeah, that's how I'm saying it. I think what Gideon said is very true. But I'm also really proud proud of the amount and dedication of work that's been going towards these initiatives. And back to you.
Thanks, guys. That was very helpful. Yeah, maybe I just want to share one last thing. Is I've been thinking a lot how could we think more of simplicity? And yesterday I spent a day with James from Trojan DAO. He won a prize in token engineering a couple of years ago, and he has an art DAO, art curation DAO kind of thing, and they've been organizing art events, and it's a very interesting DAO structure. And I was talking to him because it's someone that has been DAOing for a long time, and on the challenge of complexity and how, like, when things are seeming like they are difficult or that the structure is somehow waiting on, how could we look to simplicity and find like one direction to take and to focus most of the energy into that? And I felt some type of relief when I heard that. He said, for example, they just focus on one proposal at a time. And I don't think this is the model for the TC, because conviction voting doesn't work that way. It's actually the opposite. I'm thinking while conviction voting is not even operating that much because we are in a scarcity of funds scenario, how could we turn ourselves to the most simple direction possible? And that has been feeling like compensation and revenue. And I feel like naturally the movement of the DAO has been going in that direction with Sampo. So yeah, I would love to support. I would love if, I don't know if you guys agree, but if Softgov could like fully support Sample for as long as it's needed, and to see if there are other work streams in the TEC that could do that, you know, like slightly shift direction to work on the same problem space and hopefully find a solution quicker. And if there are things that are not like absolutely needed right now, how could we communicate that from a, like, how can we communicate these things that you just said, Gideon, you know, in a way that that people are not expecting any type of financial compensation, and how can we be responsible to the people that we're expecting, and how can we make some type of transition to focus on the solution on a minimum capacity kind of thing.
I have one just quick thing that I think a practical thing is the other thing I've been thinking a lot about is the 3 layers of, you know, culture, governance, and economic layers. And one thing that I think would be really good fertile area for collaboration between Softgov and Sampo is thinking about the interface between governance and economic layers, right? And culture layers, right? Because as we go into a phase of the DAO where the economic layer becomes more vibrant and becomes a bigger and bigger part of the community, we really want to make sure that it's grounded in the governance and the culture. And so that's the piece, Livia, that I've been thinking about. At some point, I think we should just like set up some time to talk about this. But how, you know, I think there's some frameworks for thinking about how we can extend the governance layer to include like economic principles that then drive, you know, all of the activity of the economic layer.
That sounds like a big discussion. Let's set some time to talk about that, and we can talk about it in Softgov so more people can join to the discussion. I just want to give time for SWOT to share what they've been working on, and if we have time still during this call, we can come back to that topic. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. So, there, do you want to take it?
Thank you, Livy. Yeah, so maybe just to introduce Kojak, like we've been talking and chatting about the SWOT analysis. Some members of the TEC have been taking part on, participating on the Figma board. So Kojak wanted to provide a presentation more in detail about the analysis and the next steps moving forward, like what initiatives could come up from here. So that's the purpose of this goal. So I'll just pass it to you, Kojak.
Okay, I'll try sharing my screen, and I've got a pretty bad connection, so let me try to make the most of it.
Do you want me to share it? Is this what you're looking for, the Figma file?
Not Figma. I mean, I've made a presentation, so I'm trying to share my screen.
Oh, Okay.
I don't know. Doesn't seem to be. It doesn't seem to be. I'm not getting it right. Oh, I can just speak about it. Is that okay?
Or also maybe, I don't know if you could send it to either Livy or me, and maybe we could try to share the screen.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll just.
I think it would be better to Livy. Sorry, because like I'm doing the recording and I also don't want my computer to get slow as well. So I think that would be better.
Let me again just give one shot, please. One more. I'm sorry.
Is it working well for you, Kojak?
No, it's not working. Yeah, it's still not. I'm not able to. Okay, how do I send the file?
You can just post it in Softgov, or also there's a chat here on the side.
Where's the chat?
If you click on the top right corner, there's something. There's a chat.
Yeah, chat.
Ping it you, Koyak.
And how do I attach it? 1 minute.
If it's easier, you can
Yeah,
also share.
I got it. Okay,
Cool.
I
Awesome.
just. Yeah, since it's a Google Docs file, I just got to share the link. I'm sorry, guys, for all this mess.
It happens to everyone. Yesterday, I lost service in the middle of the steward's call.
Or if it's easier, you can also like send just the link directly to me on the chat. That can work as well.
I'm sending you the link.
Okay.
I mean, I'll post the link to the. The thing is, the whole thing is slowed down. So they seem to.
I think also if you stop sharing video, your connection will get a little bit better.
Okay, talking in.
You should
What do you say?
stop sharing your screen and also your video, and then your connection will work better. Can you hear me, Kojak?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can hear you. The thing is, my system is slow so much that it's
Yeah, I'm
pretty.
saying on Discord, if you come
Yeah,
now to Discord and you stop both sharing screen and streaming, it will
I
get much
stopped.
better.
I stopped.
Everybody in the call knows what the SWOT analysis is?
Yep. I do them
Okay.
for my clients all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone here had a chance to participate, maybe with the exception of Juanca and Septi. But maybe we
As
can. Oh, sorry.
as Gideon participated.
I did comments on an early draft. I don't know if I've seen the latest draft.
Okay. Okay. I'm just going to start talking about what exactly I'm. I mean, I'm kind of suggesting. What I'm suggesting is, I mean, instead of actually going into the SWOT itself immediately, I'm going to start by citing some particular solutions. And there are three basic solutions, I mean, which are possible to actually tackle this particular. I mean, the quandary which I feel that TEC is currently facing, and the three things are: first, I mean, create a local currency. I mean, a token uh, which can be used to transact uh, between TEC members and also for the services of TEC. Like if when anybody wants a service from a TEC group or a common stack group, or if they want some tool or application of TEC to be applied for them, I mean, then it's got to be paid in these TEC tokens, and these TEC tokens can only be purchased by actually trust tokens for the thing. So it actually ultimately it drives up a certain amount of demand for for the TEC tokens. The My second suggestion is that since there's so much amount of talent within this particular ecosystem, uh, what should be done is to create what are called SBT, soulbound tokens, so that the latent talent in each individual can actually surface and be realized without exploitation, without being intrusive. I mean, in a very a kind of a neat way. Now, this is cutting edge. This is only being understood now, but I think TEC being what it is, if we are on the cutting edge, then we should be daring enough to actually experiment with these particular suggestions. That is an internal token and an SBT. The third thing is that we should actually promote what I
I'm
call
sorry,
circular.
Kojak.
Yeah,
Um,
can you hear me?
I don't know. Yeah, I can hear you, but I don't know if I'm following 100%. So are you
Yeah,
suggesting
please ask
us
me.
to
Yeah, no,
are you suggesting we have a reputation token, a non-transferable NFT type of token for the TEC, and that is
yeah.
connected to the SWOT analysis, and in what way?
Yeah,
Is
no,
that
the thing, yeah, it's a kind of,
Yeah, I was just going to say, normally when I do a SWOT analysis, I explain what the strengths, weaknesses,
yeah,
and then I explain the solution at the end. So I'm really confused about
yeah,
why
yeah,
we're
yeah,
doing it
yeah,
in this
yeah.
order.
No. Since I don't have my presentation, I'm doing it backwards. I'm arriving at the solutions, and actually I'm trying to relate that to how it. I mean, it we are using our strengths to overcome our weaknesses by seizing the opportunities to counteract the threats. Okay, and I mean, essentially, fundamental strengths that the token engineering things are people, culture, and of course, and tools. Okay, on the face of it, and the weakness seems to be the inability to raise funds or monetize. Uh, its own capabilities, so a certain lack of expertise, and actually the tools are also quite nascent and difficult for the average person to use. There is like say that the token does not reflect the underlying potential. It's actually a design failure. That's a weakness. The opportunities are, it exists there. I mean, you have your bottom up opportunities like you have in your grassroots economics, and it's actually the way I see it is, if any, I mean, there's a concept of that anything of value can be tokenized. If anything of value can be tokenized, then there's a digital layer over everything, and token engineering and the opportunities for token engineering is like what Solsista says, it's godlike for the sake. It's huge. So I mean, in the real sense, there's no dearth of opportunities. So the uh, the the threats are many. Your winter, people can actually leave for other Web3 opportunities and all that. Now the point is, okay, why I come to these three particular solutions is because it actually catalyzes the internal potential to by capitalizing on our strengths, that is people, tools, and culture, and all that. This thing, by seizing the opportunities, both internal and external, for the sake. And your SBTs are actually a way of actually realizing that particular potential which is within this particular system. For the sake. I hope I had my presentation, because I had more to say.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm sorry you had the technical difficulties. I'm sure we'll get to understand all your point soon. And if you can share the presentation in the Softgov channel, I think will be really helpful for us to take a look at it too.
Yeah.
Maybe Barry, you have something to complement?
Yeah, I think it's really, really important and really deep what Kojak is saying. I think it's important to do this overall analysis of the different layers in the TEC, and actually come up with practical solutions, right? At the end, things don't have to end up just in discussions without action, right? So I think it's really important that we set, and this is one of the initiatives that it's around, like a roadmap, right? That with defined objectives, with defined actions that are aligned to the mission of the TEC. So yeah, I think it's important to start having these conversations, and it's also really important to always remember what we're doing. Yeah, it's cutting edge, and I think it's a great opportunity to try new stuff, like try new systems, and if we fail, that's fine. We need to iterate, we need to learn, and in the process we will we will progress. So yeah, I just think it's a starting point, and yeah, it's a shame. I really wanted to take a look at that presentation, Kojak. If you could just share it, yeah, in the
I
chat,
will share it.
or maybe another time. Yeah.
No, I'll share it with everybody. I'll share it with you. You know, you can share it with everybody. And
Sounds good.
and I'm ready for a presentation in time. And the point which I just extending what you're saying there is that yes, we there's a way of experimenting in a very calibrated, being done in X Prize and Google X. See, in all the verticals, say like in gravity and all that, all these have got potential. The thing is, everything has got potential, both internal and external. What has got to be done is to actually reframe that potential in a much larger framework as a cause, as something which, like, it's both a massively transformative purpose internally, and it's addressing something very big. Say, okay, climate, some part of climate change, whatever this is, which actually motivates people, and within that, identify milestones for this thing, which leads to a kind of a moonshot. The moonshot is something which actually releases the exponentiality of that particular initiative. And I can give examples of that. But funding the milestones can be very, very small, which is tractable, which is easily fundable. Sometimes you don't even need funds for that. But achieving a small milestone actually points towards the viability of that particular initiative. And you achieve one or two milestones, then funding the moonshot or even the project becomes viable. Now that is one way of actually raising funds. That's a way. How an opportunity can be seized.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to say what I'm hearing and see if that resonates. That through mapping the strengths and vulnerabilities and opportunities in the community, that we could have some type of reputation token that would be attached to this strength stream. And then through that, we could build a roadmap based on our weaknesses of what we need to develop. And then through this roadmap, there are some little milestones of things that need to be done that would bootstrap us to have.
No. Let me this thing. What I'm saying is that every individual within the ecosystem gets an SBT, that is a soulbound token, whereby that particular person's potential is actually waiting to be exploited. To be realized. One. The second thing is that I'm actually, I'm talking about creating an internal token which can be used for, if I want a certain group or a certain individual to do something for a particular project, then that particular person can be paid in these particular tokens for the same. And it can even be an external agency. Now, some of these tools of TEC has been given to external organizations. That has got to be monetized. And the way of monetizing, which I suggest, is through this particular currency. This particular token. If another external agency wants to actually services of TEC for say the augmented voting curve or conviction voting and all that, it has got to pay through this particular token. But if you want this particular token, you've got to use trust token to buy it, or for the thing, which is actually listed. So it drives up the demand for the second thing is that to build actually circular economies within TEC. which is actually driven by this particular currency. I mean, this particular token. Let me call it TECI. So TECI drives the circularity here. So basically, what happens is that at multiple levels, catalyzes the emergence of this whole ecosystem by an internal. By a token, by your what you call a kind of a reputation system, which is a better way of defining it is as an SPT, as a soulbound token. And the third thing is circularity within the system, which is actually driven by the token.
Yeah, we're on the top of the hour.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be explored there, and it would be much easier to have it visually and written. So I think we can use a lot the Softgov chat to expand on this idea that you put a lot of thought into it, and I hear that there's very interesting pieces in there. So I would love to dive deeper into it, and perhaps throughout this week before next week's call, we can have a discussion on the chat.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
Thank you for presenting, Kojak. Thank you, Bear, also for supporting this work, and thank you all for joining.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Sorry for the technical hazards from my side. I'm actually hooked up here with COVID, and I can't go out.
No worries.
Thanks, Kojak. It's very interesting. I have to understand a little bit better, but I think you're exploring some cool areas.
Yeah. For the thing. Thanks, Gideon. I'm ready to. I really apologize for not being able to make a better presentation. But thanks for this.
Thank you all. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. See you. Thanks,
Thank you, everyone.
Take care. Bye. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Bear.